of Fox Sports.
We are the Fourth. We are Ohio.
Well, this puts a little bit of added intrigue because Smith is going to want to throw Bruce breaking balls. But if he bounces one and it gets past Lucroy, the game's over.
1-0. Big cut, gets past. Here comes Billy to the plate. Throw, forget about it. Reds win. What Jeff Brantley said is exactly what happened yesterday. A walk-off victory for the Reds and a series victory over the Milwaukee Brewers as the Reds take the first series coming out of the All-Star break, and they'd like to make it 2 series in a row, but it starts tonight with Game 1 of a 3-game set as the Reds welcome in the Atlanta Braves here at Great American Ballpark. And hi again, everyone. Alongside the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley, I'm Jim Day. Thanks for joining us for Reds Baseball. I got to tell you, one of the most exciting things in baseball is when Billy Hamilton gets on base and just wreaks havoc.
It is amazing, but what surprises me is that some teams, like they did yesterday, they just allow him to take third base because he is such a weapon and so aggressive on the base paths. Sometimes if you let him just take a base, it makes it even that much more difficult to contain him.
And the Braves didn't even man third base, let him go to third, and it was his 150th career stolen base, and then, hey, gets away, you said it, and it happened.
Yeah, well, you've got a fast runner on third base. You know you're going to see breaking balls from Will Smith against Jay Bruce, and Lucroy just couldn't hold the baseball.
And a 1-0 victory for the Cincinnati Reds. More on Billy Hamilton coming up. It's been interesting coming out of the break as far as the pitching rotation goes. Anthony DeSclafani led it off. John Lamb has since been sent out to AAA, but they got a few guys that are going to reach the innings limit as young pitchers.
Yeah, I think when you start looking at this rotation, you have to start wondering, all right, where's Brandon Finnegan going to be as we get into September? Cody Reed, the same type of scenario. Even though Dan Straley has been at this point in time in his career, you still have to wonder, can he continue to make these kind of starts as we get deeper into the season? Cody
Reed will go tomorrow, but tonight it's the lefty Brandon Finnegan, and you look at his numbers, and of late he would like to rebound. First 16 starts, 3-6, a 3.83 ERA. Opponents hitting just 223 off of him, but last 2 starts, look at the numbers, a 323 opponent average, and he's given up much more runs. My question to you, Jeff Brantley, what does Brandon Finnegan have to do going forward to have success?
Well, I think the biggest thing for Brandon Finnegan is to continue to be tenacious, to continue to be tough. But don't let that tenacity and that toughness make you stubborn. You still have to listen, you still have to make adjustments, and you still have to learn. Number 1, down in the strike zone. He's got to get the ball down around the kneecaps and not pitch up. He's got to understand that in his head, that pitching up is a problem. You only go up there every once in a while. You make your living down in the strike zone. If he can do that, he'll be fine tonight, Jim.
Well, let's hope that he follows the Cowboy formula. And will we see Billy Ball again? We're talking Billy Hamilton on the other side with Jeff Piecoro, warming you up for the Reds and Braves on the home of the Reds, Fox Sports Ohio.
Finnegan's on the mound tonight. Hopefully we can get a win again. Tonight's temperatures will be falling down through the 70s. Showers should be out of here by the start of the game, and we'll be in those mid-70s by the end of the game with decreasing cloudiness. And let's go Reds.
Well, it should be a nice night for baseball here. Well, we've talked a lot about Billy Hamilton, and there's a reason for that. Tonight's IGS bringing the energy has to do with Billy Hamilton. When he gets on base, there is nobody better at scoring in all of baseball. Percentage of time scoring after reaching base, Billy Hamilton does it 44% of the time. That's 0.1% better than Odor in Texas. Ian Kinsler, 41% for Detroit. Joe Panik and Mookie Betts at 38%. So if he gets on, he could score. You'd love to see that on-base average get up just a scotch and have him score a lot more. Coming up, it's two young guns, one lefty and one righty. But as we head to break, let's take a look and listen to Billy Hamilton's exciting plays.
And there goes Hamilton. Here comes a throw to the plate, and he's safe. Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Great jump by Billy. Base hit the other way. Votto. Run will score. Hamilton to third. They're going to send him home. And we just saw a runner score from first on a single into left field.
Tagging in the short right center field. Here he comes. And here comes a throw. How about Billy Hamilton?
Here comes Hamilton to the plate. Billy ball. Strikes again.
How many times have we seen that?
1-0. Big cut, gets past. Here comes Billy to the plate. Throw, forget about it. Reds win. Ohio is brought to you by Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good. It's Skyline time. Another gorgeous night for baseball. An interim skipper for the Braves, Brian Snitker, will line them up like this. Gordon Beckham will lead off. Adonis Garcia batting second. The always dangerous Freddie Freeman batting in the 3 spot. Nick Markakis, Jeff Francoeur in left. Ender Inciarte in center. Anthony Recker behind the plate. Eric Ibar shortstop. And the pitcher tonight, Matt Whistler, batting 9th. On the hill, lefty Brandon Finnegan, Cowboy. First time after the All-Star break and looking to rebound.
Yeah, the Reds gave him some extra days off before making this start. I'm sure he would have liked to have started right behind DeSclafani coming out of the break, but this is his first year in the rotation. You got to watch the innings and the starts.
First pitch in there for a called strike. Ted Barrett calling balls and strikes behind the plate, the crew chief. Lance Barksdale at first, Angel Hernandez at second, Will Little down at third. Second pitch from Finnegan. Outside, ball one. You had mentioned the Reds giving him a little extra time, that being Brandon Finnegan. Last started on June 30th. Still a young pitcher. The Reds will be watching his innings and giving him a later start. Giving him that break will cut down on those innings this season. Finnegan's one of those guys, man, he wants the ball.
He wants to pitch, and that's not something you can teach. He came with that. All you can do is temper those emotions when he gets out on the mound and gets himself into trouble. But experience is a tremendous teacher. And having that experience up here and pitching every 5th day, if you're willing to learn and willing to listen, you can make the adjustments to be successful with his kind of stuff.
Beckham fouls off a 2-2 pitch. That last start, June 30th, was at Washington. It was one to forget. 2 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 8 earned runs, which was a career high. Walked 5 batters, a career high. Gave up 2 home runs and threw 79 pitches in just 2 1/3 innings. So perhaps the All-Star break did him well. Put that one behind him. 2-2 pitch again. Right at Brandon Phillips, who is back in the starting lineup after missing 2 games with a strained calf. And here's your 4 defensive lineup, which includes Brandon Phillips, but around the outfield, typical Duvall, Hamilton, Bruce, Suarez, Cozart, Phillips back in there, Joey Votto at first base, and the battery mates of Tucker Barnhart and Brandon Finnegan. 1 out in the inning. It's Adonis Garcia.
I think the best way to judge Brandon Finnegan on whether he's down in the strike zone or not consistently is to watch the catcher's mitt of Tucker Barnhart. And if he has to reach down, then you know Finnegan's staying down in the zone. But you have to watch throughout this game how many times Barnhart reaches up to get the baseball.
Base hit center field. Garcia reaches with 1 out.
If your catcher is consistently raising his mitt as the pitch comes to the plate, that should tell you on the mound the ball is up consistently. And you see where this pitch is up. You cannot pitch up here. There is no way. I don't care how hard you throw it or how much movement you've got. You pitch up there, you're going to get hit hard all the time.
Now the lefty Freddie Freeman, who was scuffling the last time the Reds saw him and has been scuffling of late, but man, did he wake up in that set, that 4-game set at Turner Field. Had a huge series against the Reds in June.
The Reds hit him twice. Kind of woke up a sleeping giant.
Big time. Went 10 for 18, 556 average, 3 home runs, including hitting for the cycle on June 15th. That was an extra innings game. It took a few extra innings to get that cycle. But he was on fire in that series. Overall, a .277 hitter. Team leading 16 home runs, 34 runs driven in. Finnegan ahead, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And 1-2 pitch, foul back. Finnegan started in that series against Atlanta back on June 14th. His only start in his career versus the Braves. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run. Did walk 3 batters, struck out 5. It was a 3-1 Reds victory.
That is the last victory for Brandon Finnegan.
Yep. Making his 19th start tonight. Do the 1-2 again. Up, throw over. Finnegan has 9 quality starts. In 7 of his 18 starts, he's allowed 2 earned runs or fewer. Coming plateward. Fouls it off again. This Braves team in rebuild mode, just like the Reds. come in with a 34-58 record. Excuse me, 32-60 record. Reds 34-58. Braves are 23.5 games out of first place in the National League East. Comes the 1-2 again. Got him.
You see where that breaking ball was. Converse that with the other breaking balls that Freddie Freeman was fouling off. Watch where this pitch ends up. You see Tucker Barnhart's mitt go down, and you see the batter go down and back to the dugout. You pitch down in that area, you're going to get a lot of outs instead of foul balls and line drive hits.
Freeman now 0 for 3 this season versus Brandon Finnegan. And now Nick Markakis will step in with a team-leading 47 runs driven in. Markakis, born in Woodstock, Georgia.
Got to believe the Braves thought that they were getting more power when they signed Nick Markakis to that big deal out of Baltimore.
Signed him to a 4-year contract, December of 2014. Different hitter with runners on as opposed to bases empty. Goes the runner. Throw down to second base. A good one by Barnhart, and they got him. Gordon Beckham, a dead duck. Reds coming to bat. Ballpark, scoreless, top of the first. Now the Reds coming to bat. Here's how Brian Price lines them up. Zach Cozart will lead off once again. Billy Hamilton batting second. Votto, Bruce, and Duvall will follow them. Brandon Phillips, after 2 nights off in the starting lineup, back in there. Eugenio Suarez and the battery mates of Tucker Barnhart and Brandon Finnegan. And on the mound for the Braves is Matt Wisler, the Ohio product Matt Wisler.
Second start that he's made against the Reds this year. First time out, pitched into the 7th inning, only allowed a couple of earned runs. He did allow a home run to Adam Duvall. Threw the ball pretty well, even though he had runners on base in every inning he was out there. He was able to keep the Reds off the board in any big innings.
Matt Wisler hails from Bryan, Ohio. Cozart fouls the first one off. Bryan, Ohio, in the northwest part of the state. He was originally drafted by San Diego in the 7th round, 2011. And he was earmarked to go to Ohio State to be a Buckeye. But once he was drafted, decided to go the pro ball route As he looks back now, pitching in the big leagues, he thinks it was a good decision. And he was part of that trade. The Braves sent Melvin Upton and closer Craig Kimbrell to the Padres. As Cozart, fly ball into right field. Markakis has it. 1 out. For defensive lineup for the Braves. Rancour, Inciarte, Markakis in the outfield. Garcia, Ibar, Beckham, Freeman. Recker behind the plate. He just joined the Braves. We'll talk about him coming up. And Whistler on the hill. That trade with the Padres. The Braves got Carlos Quentin, Cameron Maybin, along with prospects Whistler and another prospect that is since not in the Braves organization. They also got the 41st pick overall in the 2015 draft. Braves have been very, very active in trades and retooling their organization.
They are trying to stockpile as much pitching as they possibly can.
In that trade, Matt Whistler was the one that they obviously had their eye on. Carlos Quentin no longer in the bigs. Cameron Maybin has moved on. Trade happened in April of 2015.
Yeah, the thing that's kind of different about what the Braves have done in some of those trades that you mentioned, they've taken on some major salaries in order to get some young prospects. I remember when they traded with the Diamondbacks and they took Bronson Arroyo's salary, even though he was still rehabbing from Tommy John surgery. They took all of that salary so they could get Touki Toussaint.
Billy Hamilton, right field, but going back to get it is Markakis. A little charge in it did Billy, but 2 outs in the inning.
Hamilton puts a good swing on this ball, down and in. But when you pitch down in the strike zone, when you're right around the kneecaps, even if you leave the ball over the middle of the plate, more times than not, you're going to get away with a mistake pitch than if you pitch up around the catcher's mask.
With 2 outs, here's Joey Votto. Sits safely in all 3 games since the All-Star break, 6 for 12. This pitch swinging out of play. Back on the 16th of June against Matt Whistler, he was 3 for 3, 3 singles. Votto hitting .351 so far in the month of July. A 1 pitch from Whistler outside.
Whistler's got a little bit of natural sinking action, tailing action on the fastball, away from the lefties into the righties.
One ball, 1 strike. Outside corner, 1-2.
When you're down in the strike zone consistently, that little bit of movement can keep the ball off the bat head of the hitter's swing.
1-2. Votto right to the box, and Whistler, how are we doing? I think that ball might have caught him. Nonetheless, it's a 1-2-3 start for Whistler. brought to you by Elk and Elk. Most pitchers used this season. Reds searching for that stability. They've used 27 pitchers, tied for the most in Major League Baseball with the Padres. 12 starters used, tied for the most with these Atlanta Braves and the LA Dodgers. Reds records: 30 pitchers, 17 starters, set back in 2003. So been kind of a revolving door. Some of it having to do with injury, some of it having to do with retooling the organization. Some guys getting shots, other guys not. As you just seek some identity in the pitching staff, and I imagine that's going to settle down over here next couple of seasons. At least that's the plan. Nick Markakis leads it off. He was at bat, and the runner was thrown out trying to steal, and he's out easily, tired by a ground ball to Brandon Phillips.
Well, you look back 4 or 5 years ago, the Reds had a starter that never missed a start. They made every start all the way through the year. Now, ideally, that's what you'd like to have. These are my 5 starters, and you pitch all the way until the end of the season. Doesn't always go that way.
No. Certainly has it this year. And last, for that matter. Now Jeff Francoeur, who's been around the block a few times in his major league career, now back with the Braves. Big cut.
Well, having those starters that never miss a start, veteran starters, that's a great thing for that season. But it kind of impedes a little bit of experience and development for some of the younger starters on their way. Sooner or later, you've got to go to the younger starters and give these guys an opportunity to pitch in the big leagues, and that's where the Reds are now. The Braves are in that spot. There's quite a few teams that are out there that are doing the same exact thing.
By the way, Brian Price once again non-committal on his rotation coming up this weekend after the off day on Thursday. John Lamb was sent out to AAA. There is a spot available in that rotation, and was non-committal on who that will be, or if the off day they could simply skip over that spot.
Yeah, the Reds have 3 off days coming up, I think, in the next 12, 13 days. Once we get to Thursday's off day. After that, you've got that off day, and within the next 12, 13 days, you've got 3 total. It all depends on how the Reds want to play it with some of their younger starters.
Or do we see Robert Stevenson again? The question looms out there. All to be answered in the coming days. Francoeur pops it up. Cozart waiting for it. He's got it. 2 outs.
I think that's the question that people are asking. Will we see Robert Stevenson? Will we see Amir Garrett this year? Or are we going to see Kiva Sampson make a start? Are we going to see Tim Adelman come back? I think it really just depends on what the Reds have in mind for some of the guys that they're hoping for down the line. And obviously Robert Stevenson would be one of those guys that they're hoping for to be in this rotation and be a guy they can count on to make 30, 35 starts in a year.
His day to pitch, Robert Stevenson, coming up, if you're going to go on regular rest, would be Friday, which is also Dan Straley's day. Move Straley back a day, or again just skip over the spot. We'll see what happens. There's Ender Inciarte, and this Braves team has struggled mightily, as we know. He's got a 6-game hitting streak. Good numbers over that span, obviously, but overall been kind of a disappointment for the Braves. Not a disappointment so far for Brandon Finnegan. Scoreless 2 innings. The Toyota sign during tonight's game. Katie Harwood from Burlington, Kentucky will win this beautiful new Tundra on display at Great American Ballpark. You can register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Love to see that sign hit eventually.
With the bases loaded.
How about that? That would work. By the way, if no one hits the sign, Toyota, per usual, at the end of the season has donated that Tundra to a charitable cause.
Gave away 2 last year, didn't they?
Yeah, and so it is not one of those promotions where obviously it's tough to hit that sign. To my knowledge, it's never been hit. Votto hit one over, I remember. Bruce just blisters one into right center field on the first pitch. And a good way to start the second for Cincinnati. That was a hard hit ball.
Ball starts in off the plate, but comes back middle in. And once again, you see the catcher raise up to try to catch that ball. Normally, when the catcher raises up his mitt to catch it, it doesn't get to it. It's usually going the other way.
And now back-to-back All-Stars. Jay Bruce just made his 3rd appearance. Adam Duvall coming off of his first All-Star appearance. Swing and a miss. Duvall back in June 1 for 3 off of Whistler. And as you said earlier, it was a home run, that one hit. Steps in with a team leading 23 home runs, tied for Jay Bruce with the lead in RBIs at 64. Inside, 1-1. Got to deal with that sun and that batter's eye. It's that time of night. Sometimes tough to pick up the ball for hitters. Jay Bruce had no problem with that. Not quite as bad once we get about a half hour into the game. If you're talking about a 7-10 start, which we have here tonight. 2-1 pitch. 3-1.
Whistler got ahead with that first pitch fastball. It was right down Broadway. Since then, he's been trying to nibble on the corners a bit. You don't forget when someone takes you deep.
Spoken like a pitcher. What, 2 big cuts from Duvall, and he's come up empty both times. Gone full 3-2.
Fastball down and away, and look where the location is. You didn't see the catcher reach up on that one. Right on the money.
No outs. Jay Bruce takes his lead at first. There goes Bruce. 3-2 pitch, swung on and missed. Throw down, strike him out, throw him out. So a nice throw by Anthony Recker as Whistler takes care of Duvall on strikes. And the strike him out, throw him out, 2 outs in the inning. Once again, sliding with that lead foot up, which I try not to let it bother me, but it drives me insane. Nonetheless, 2 outs, and here's Brandon Phillips. If you're just picking up the game, Brandon back in the starting lineup. It's a couple of games. The strained calf. And he was listed in the starting lineup, and Brian Price says he's in the lineup until he's not, meaning they were sending him out for batting practice. He did some extra work with the trainers today. and was in the starting lineup until someone on the medical staff or Brandon said, hey, listen, I need another day. That did not happen. He is in there and in the box with the 1-1 count. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
The calf obviously is better, but I asked him about his hand. How's your hand doing? Well, it's broken.
That's about all you get out of him.
About it.
Hairline fracture in his hand, which is one of those things that it's a pain tolerance issue. Whether he can tolerate the pain, and so far he's been able to tolerate it, but goes down swinging here. Back-to-back strikeouts for Matt Wisler. Night out with your girlfriends? Don't miss this year's A Night of Their Own, presented by St. Elizabeth Healthcare. Enjoy dinner, an open bar, throw a pitch from the mound, snag some fly balls in the outfield. Meet manager Brian Price, and you can also meet the cowboy Jeff Bradley.
I'll be there.
Yes, indeed.
You'll
this
be
year,
there.
I'll be there. They're more excited to meet you than me this year, because how often do you get to meet a cowboy? This year, get cool red swag as well, including a watch and a wine tumbler. Sign up today at Reds.com/events. Coming up on Thursday. Third inning of work for Brandon Finnegan. He'll face Anthony Recker. And you look at his career over 6 seasons. She's played with a few clubs, but on May 9th, they purchased him from the Indians. Tyler Flowers broke his hand. Flowers apparently had a broken hand, tried to play through it, didn't tell anyone.
Didn't tell anybody.
Now he's out for a while. So they needed some catching help. They have A.J. Brzezinski, who's certainly on the back end of his career and has struggled behind the plate. So they needed some catching help, and Anthony Recker is the guy they called upon.
Not much in the hitting department, Recker, but serviceable defensively behind the plate. You just can't expect A.J. Brzezinski to start every day. That's just not going to happen.
Right. Originally drafted by the Athletics in 2005.
There's actually talk out there now that the Braves might be interested in Jonathan Lucroy.
Really?
Yeah, just because
his
veteran
age,
catcher.
yeah.
I mean, he's 30 years old. You'd have to sign him to another deal. His deal runs out after next year. Cost you a little money, but you'd have a veteran catcher to work with a lot of these young pitchers that the Braves are banking their organization's life on.
Well, walks have been one of the bugaboos for Finnegan, and certainly leadoff walks. And he walks Anthony Recker to begin the third. And now Eric Ibar
Well, walks you can understand if you have a battle like with a batter like Freddie Freeman or Nick Markakis, but for a guy like Anthony Recker, I'm not sure that you can accept that. Got to make him swing the bat.
Ibar just a .210 hitter. 1 home run, 14 runs driven in. It has certainly not gone according to plan involving Erick Aybar at shortstop for the Braves. Andrelton Simmons, we thought was going to be at shortstop forever for the Braves when he first came up, was setting the world on fire.
I was pretty surprised when he was traded to the Angels. Of course, now that he's gotten hurt.
And wasn't setting the world on fire before he got hurt either. But unfortunately for the Braves, they haven't got much production from Aybar either. The 0-2 pitch from Finnegan. Blocked nicely by Barnhart. Aybar was on an over 18 skid, but broke it Saturday. Over his last 8 games, 2 for 26.
Yeah, not only has Aybar struggled offensively, which I think the Braves thought that he would at least provide some semblance of offense, but he struggled in the field.
Yep.
I mean, just making routine plays, he's had difficulty and no range at all.
Pitch. The right field. Bruce coming on's got it. Good jump by Jay Bruce on that ball. Recker had to go diving back into first base as he thought that ball might fall.
If Bruce could have gotten himself righted in the outfield, as you see the two-seam fastball coming in to Aybar, you see the angle that Bruce had to take towards right center field. He couldn't quite get himself back turned the right way to throw the ball back to first base. If he's coming straight on, they'll double up Recker there.
With 1 out, pitcher Matt Whistler squaring around a bunt. Foul. As of the 1-0 victory yesterday in walk-off fashion, and they are currently riding a 17-inning scoreless streak by their pitchers. It's their longest such streak since the end of last July, and that was when Mike Leake was traded. So 17 innings scoreless. Pretty good run. Second straight time that Whistler bunts it foul. Now behind no balls, 2 strikes.
Whistler really jabbing at the baseball. See the ball come in and he just jabs at it. You can see the weight on the hills. Barnhart gets to the ball quickly, but it rolled right into the batter's box. Whistler is leaning back towards the third base dugout as he tries to bunt.
He's going to try it again with 2 strikes.
That's ugly.
And they called it a 3rd strike. He stabbed at it indeed.
Yeah, we talk all the time about the ability to bunt for a pitcher. You're going to pitch in the big leagues and you're going to be a starting pitcher. You've got to be able to have a little bit better effort than that there.
I'm not sure if that got a piece of the bat or not.
I don't think he was anywhere close.
Back to the top of the lineup and Gordon Beckham. Beckham grounded out back in the first. That season average sitting at 265. He's one of 2 players in the starting lineup born in Atlanta, GA. 29 years of age is Beckham. Signed as a free agent in December of last year. Signed only through this year.
Braves have Albies and Swanson second and short coming quickly. They are both in Double-A at the moment. I imagine they will be the double play combo for these Braves in the relative near future.
At least they hope. We'll see what the future holds for Brian Snitker, who is right now on an interim basis. He was the AAA manager at Gwinnett. Fredi Gonzalez was relieved of his duties, and it was a sloppy way to do it. Terry Pendleton now is the bench coach for the Braves. Former first base coach took over as the bench coach. Carlos Tosca was the bench coach for Fredi Gonzalez, and he was let go as well. Beckham pops it up. Finnegan strands a runner. We're still scoreless at GABP.
Fox Sports Ohio, make sure to stick around for Reds Live, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda, and get a complete recap and interviews from the clubhouse. Now, I got an interesting tidbit, guys. The Reds win 1-0. That's something that hasn't happened in 30 years, that a game ends on a pass ball for the only run of the game. The last time it happened was back in 1986. The Astros beat the Reds 1-0. Billy Hatcher, the Reds' first base coach, then playing for Houston, scored the winning run on a pass ball to the late, great Bo Diaz. How about that? What comes full circle in baseball, gentlemen?
And Billy Hamilton scored it. And as Billy says, you know what, I'm running so fast, I don't even have time to look at Billy Hatcher, whether he's waving me around or not. And in that case, it was all instincts. The Braves, or excuse me, they just let him go to third base, did the Brewers. And that proved to be the difference in the game. Reds win 1-0 on walk-off fashion. Interesting enough, this Braves team, as Eugenio Suarez fouls off the first pitch, they also won 1-0 yesterday at Turner Field in walk-off fashion. Chase Darno, a 2-out 9th inning RBI single. Both of these teams coming off a 1-0 walk-off victory. That has to be very, very rare.
I would imagine
that both teams 1-0 victory at home. The walk off and they face each other the next day.
The 1-0 victory for the Reds allowed them to win the series.
Yeah.
The 1-0 victory for the Braves allowed them not to be swept by the Rockies.
Big difference. Suarez pops it up. Freeman's got it. One out here in the third. getting back to that removal, Freddie Gonzalez as the manager, it was done in a very sloppy fashion, albeit I think it was an accident. But what happened was the Braves were going to Pittsburgh to play a series, and they had already decided they were going to make the change. And Freddie Gonzalez got an email, a travel email, which was basically an automated email that says, "You're ready for your flight tomorrow from Pittsburgh to Atlanta."
You've been fired.
Well, I did say that, but at first glance, Freddie Gonzalez is like, hold on, we're going to play a 3-game series in Pittsburgh. What are we talking about here? So what he did is he went up to the general manager's room at the hotel with a couple bottles of wine, knocked on the door and said, "I think we need to talk." Tucker Barnhart, base hit.
Well, I think Freddie Gonzalez handled it about as classy as you could handle it.
They said that he was amazing about it, but President of Baseball Operations John Hart apologized to him and said, "Hey, I was set to fly to Pittsburgh and tell you in person, but unfortunately that email got to him," and replaced him Brian Snitker, who moved up from their AAA club. And Snitker, you want to talk about earning the position. He's in his 40th season in the Braves organization. 40th season. He's named the Atlanta's interim manager on May 17th. So we'll see what the future holds. And you talk to those that are around the Braves all the time, and they really have no idea who their manager is going to be in the future.
They may not know upstairs either.
They might not. Finnegan gets the bunt down. Will it stay fair? It will not. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you have come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. It includes a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
Pretty good app.
It's a great app.
If you're a baseball fan. If you're a soccer fan, it's not going to help you a whole lot.
Probably not.
Thought I'd throw it out there for you.
Although I bet you, as popular as soccer is around the world, Finnegan's going to not bunt with 2 strikes. As popular as soccer is around the world, and perhaps our soccer expert Matt Zigafus can help us out on this one. There's got to be a good soccer app out there. I'm sure I'll get messages about that, but I don't know which ones. The Premier League over there in Europe. Got to have one. Finnegan, chopper. Second, on to first, double play. .543 on the double play, and Matt Wisler has faced the minimum through 3. national champion. See the players, the course, and major championship history at the U.S. Senior Open coming to Scioto Country Club in Columbus on August 8th. One of my favorite courses on earth. For more information and to purchase tickets, go to 2016USSeniorOpen.com. That is cool that it is at Scioto Country Club. That is the course that Jack Nicklaus grew up on and learned how to play the game. Brandon Finnegan on that double play to end the inning. Take a look.
You make the call.
Pretty close.
Like he was safe. Surprised the Reds didn't challenge that, but you've got a pitcher running. There's 2 outs no matter what. Even if he's safe, maybe they were taking that into consideration.
Well, Brian Price went to the top steps as we went to break. The Braves defenders, excuse me, remained on the field.
You know, from the naked eye, it looked like he was out.
Yeah, it really did.
But when you look back at the replay, evidently that's why we have replay. Looked like he was safe.
Nonetheless, onward we go to the 4th inning. Adonis Garcia will lead off for the Braves. Single back in the first one, but was caught stealing. Garcia's had a pretty good go of it over the last 9 games. 382 clip, 432 on base percentage, and a 500 slugging percentage.
You look at Brandon Finnegan's starts, and I think what you're looking for, and we've talked about this before, is improvement as the season goes along. The first 5 starts at home, they were a little rough. June and July at home, you see the numbers, they were much better.
Hard hit ball. Seeing eye single. Adonis Garcia will lead off top of the 4th for the Braves.
We saw in Atlanta that Garcia can handle a fastball. And this is a fastball, even though it's down, he's able to get the bat head to it and pull it to the left side.
Now Freddie Freeman has had to deal with some adversity in his life. When he was just 10 years old, his mother Rosemary lost her battle with melanoma. And if you follow the Braves, you notice that Freddie Freeman wears long sleeves no matter how hot it is, and it's directly related to his mother's passing. That he thinks about the melanoma and doesn't want to expose his arms to the sun and tries to stay out of the sun as much as possible. And like many players, or anyone that's lost their mother at a young age, says before he goes on the field, he looks up to the sky just to say thank you. Thank you for looking out for me, Mom. Thank you for keeping me healthy.
I don't know what it is about Freeman, whether it's the setup or whether it's just his due diligence against left-handed pitching, but to hit 320 against left-handed pitching, that's where he is this year.
Yeah.
That's a tough task for a left-handed only batter.
Only John Jay is better at 346 against left-handed pitchers as a left-handed batter.
But if you watch Freeman, even against right-handers, the balls that are inside are the balls that tie him up. He likes the ball middle and away because his body movement takes him to the plate, and he'll hook that ball. The breaking ball that stays on the plate, he hammers.
2-1 pitch.
Not there.
2-2.
Eyes got big. Tried to kill that one, and he comes up empty. Normally that's a ball he handles awfully well.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Here comes Finnegan. Swing and a miss. 3rd strikeout of the game for Brandon Finnegan.
Curveball, you go back to the fastball inside. This one right on the money. Ties him up inside.
Now we'll deal with Nick Markakis, who grounded out back in the second. Those last two starts, which were subpar by Brandon Finnegan, his season ERA over his last 4 starts has risen by more than a run, 3.61 to 4.71, and home runs have been an issue along with walks. He surrendered 8 home runs in just 19 innings over those 4 starts. And if you believe in the law of averages in baseball, you would think that a home run would be hit tonight, because yesterday was only the second homerless game at Great American Ballpark this season. And there have only been 94 of them in 1,099 games in this stadium's history. Billy Hamilton goes back near the track, gathers it in. He'll throw clear back to first base. Getting back there is Garcia. 2 outs. Tomorrow night, the Reds host the Braves again here at GABP. Reds Live kicks it off at 6:30 with Pick and Dan. Indeed, Dan Hoard aboard for the series again. We like to see that. First pitch at 7. Plus, we've got a great ticket offer for you here on the home of the Reds, Fox Sports Ohio. So stay tuned for our ticket office takeover tomorrow. 2 outs, Jeff Francoeur.
When you watch Finnegan pitch, and I made note of this early in the ball game, he pitches up in the zone around the belt, doesn't leave many pitches out over the plate, especially early in the ball game. But he's the exception to the rule. When he's down in the zone, that doesn't happen that often. Most of the time he's up, and that's where the walks come from and the home runs come from. Now, whether that's a mechanical issue or whether it's an issue in the mind and what Brandon sees as he drives the ball to the plate, because in the conversations that he and I have had, that pitch that's up middle away on the outside corner, he thinks that's a good pitch. And at this level, that's not a good pitch. That runs right into the bat head. And as you start to get fatigued in the ball game, or as they begin to see you more and more, that pitch starts to get hit hard and consistently hard.
So is that something that a coach has to say, stop throwing at that location, or he has to do it upon himself?
It's not only that, because I think that Brandon has pitched in that spot his entire life. I think that's what he's done his whole baseball career. So it's not something that you change overnight.
Right center field. Hit well. Hamilton chasing, looking up. It's off the wall. They're going to wave around the runner. Throw to the plate from Phillips. And he's in there. Braves take a 1-0 lead. RBI double, Jeff Francoeur, and the Braves draw first blood. 13th double of the season for Francoeur.
Watch the mid of Tucker Barnhart. He raises it up, and the ball goes with it. And that ball was in the center of the plate.
With 2 outs and a runner at second base, Ender Inciarte. Finnegan trying to limit the damage to 1 here in the 4th.
The key about pitching down in the zone, Jim, is when your fastball is down consistently, when you throw a breaking ball off that same plane and it looks like it's going to be down as that last pitch was, you'll get swings. But now with the spin of the breaking ball, it's down in the zone. You're not going to get a swing because they know it's not a fastball. They're looking up for the fastball.
1 ball, 1 strike to Ender Inciarte. comes the 1-1.
That's a money pitch right there. You make that
low part of the strike zone.
You make that same pitch to Jeff Francoeur, he's in the dugout. It may be a hard hit ball, but it's a ground ball. But you raise that about 6 inches and it's a double off the wall or maybe a home run.
1-2 pitch. Served into left field. Duvall coming on. He's got it. The Braves get a run. And they lead 1-0 over the Reds.
Over the Reds, catcher Devin Mesoraco had surgery to repair a right labrum tear in his right hip today. It was performed by hip specialist Dr. Brian Kelly, who fixed his left hip in June of 2015. Here's what Dr. Timothy Kremchek had to say about the surgery today.
Now, with how he's progressed with his right, what we saw in his left, and the prognosis and how these guys are doing with the rehab, I'd be very optimistic about this. Matter of fact, I think it's going to give him a spring in his step. It's going to make it a little easier for him to squat down and do certain things that he never really recognized he could do so easy.
He is expected to begin catching drills, guys, in mid to late January and be ready for spring training. So yet another setback. But what Kremchek went on to say is it was the perfect timing to go ahead and do this surgery since he's already going to miss this season. But he should be raring to go in spring training, guys.
Well, let's hope so. It's the third major surgery that Devin Mesoraco has had to undergo. And when you're a catcher and you get a hip operated on, that's one thing. You get both hips operated on, certainly question marks in the future. You can be as optimistic as you want at the time of the surgery, but until next year, Zach Cozart lays into one in left field, and it is gone. Number 15 for Zach Cozart, and that ties a career high. And we're tied at 1.
Looked like a breaking ball that Matt Whistler just left out over the plate and up. And Cozart did not let it pass. Yeah, up and out over the plate. He killed it. That's just a cement mixer right there.
Cozart hit 15 home runs in 2012 and now has 15 here in 2016 with a lot of season left.
It's one of those pitches, as a pitcher, as soon as you let it go, you're hoping they take it, because it is right to the bat head on the outside part of the plate, and it's doing nothing but screaming, "Hit me."
The game tied at 1. Billy Hamilton flied out back in the first. Ground ball up the middle, and it gets through. And now the excitement starts. You know, there were batters that every time they would come to the plate, you couldn't go away from the TV, or you don't want to go to the concession stand. Well, when Billy gets on first base or on any base, it's the same situation as a power hitter coming to the plate. You don't want to miss it.
Billy did a good job on that swing. That pitch was running away from him. It was elevated a bit. A lot of times we've seen Billy just loft that ball into the outfield. He stayed on top of it and got it right back up the middle on the ground.
Billy, a team leading 24 steals on the season. He's been caught only 4 times. He's got a pretty good lead over there, and Whistler sees it and throws over.
That's a ball.
Well, it's one thing to have him steal a base. It's another to give him a complete free pass. Yep. Explain to the layman viewer what happened right there, Joe.
The front foot of Matt Whistler did not move towards first base. He just kind of spun on that front foot, taking his back off. If you watch this foot up here, that's where the balk is called. You see the right foot disengaged from the rubber, but the left foot just spins, and you cannot do that. You have to step that way. And the second base umpire, Angel Hernandez, called it immediately.
Billy in scoring position for Joey Votto. Play on back at second base. Billy's back.
Most third basemen watch the batter or look at the pitcher and then the batter as the ball comes to the plate. But with Hamilton at second base, Adonis Garcia is looking at Billy Hamilton. Yes, he knows if he comes to third, I got to get on my horse and get to the bag. You see him. He's staring right at Billy Hamilton.
And there goes Billy. Got a great jump. Not even a throw. Billy ball.
Well, I guess Garcia knew something that nobody else except Billy Hamilton knew, that somebody was heading his way.
Look at this jump he gets. He was 2 steps in before right in the delivery. Check this out. I mean, there's no chance. He did not steal that off the catcher. He stole that off of Whistler. .25 stolen bases now for Hamilton. Just like yesterday, you put one in the dirt, he's coming home.
Garcia's checking him out. He's staring right at Hamilton. You see out of the corner of his eye. Well, he got to his base. He got no throw.
There was no chance with that jump.
He arrived about the same time Hamilton did.
2 balls, no strikes to Votto. It's the 13th time that Billy has stolen third base. That is the most in Major League Baseball.
He makes it look easy.
Two-one pitch to Votto. 2-2. .150 career stolen bases. He got that yesterday. Fewest games to reach, 150. Only Kenny Lofton back in 1994 did it. Comes the 2-2. Votto rips it deep, and that bad boy is gone. Number 15 for Votto, a 2-run shot, and the Reds lead 3-1.
Votto hit that fastball like he knew it was coming. A 2-0 breaking ball, a 2-1 breaking ball, and on 2-2, look at this swing. Ouch. I mean, that's just a lean back hammer city. Yeah, you got me.
It'll bring a smile to number 19. Picture perfect swing. Still nobody out. 3 runs in, and Jay Bruce on a 1-1 count. Bruce broken bat into the shift for the first out of the inning. That was the shortstop Ibar taking that. So 6-3 technically into the shift.
You have to wonder, Jim, sometimes for a pitcher, especially a young pitcher like Matt Wisler, you get a base runner like Hamilton on base, you balk, he goes to second, all of a sudden he steals third base. You're trying to protect a 1-1 ball game. You get behind Votto, and then all of a sudden you throw that high fastball. How much of that was created by Billy Hamilton? Just getting in the head of the guy on the mound. Take away your concentration even for the slightest second. And Votto killed it.
When you were pitching, whether you were starting when you started your career with the Giants or when you were a reliever, was there a player that you remember that just got in your head like that? I mean, there have been few as fast as Billy Hamilton, but
yeah, I don't know that I worried about the base runners so much because I was very quick to the plate.
Well, there are a few seasons you didn't have many base runners. Yeah. 1996 maybe.
I only pitched 1 inning at a time, so it wasn't too difficult. I didn't have to do that 6-7 inning thing. That's a little over the top.
1-2 pitch to Duvall, and for the second straight time Duvall goes down swinging.
Back-to-back breaking balls down and away and executed to perfection. See the ball start on the outside corner and just drop straight down. Difficult pitch to hit. And Duvall not quite being able to get there. You know, the first at bat for Phillips, it looked like with that left hand hairline fracture, he just can't quite get the bat out to that outside pitch. And we've seen it so many times that he'll flip that into right field. He seems to be having much difficulty with that right now. Now the ball in, he seems like he handles that pretty well, but the ball that's out on the outside part of the plate, whether it's a breaking ball or a fastball, it tends to just looks like something's bothering him, and obviously the hand is. Well, there's that calf again.
That's not going to help at all.
That's the same calf that
you see him shaking
put
it
him out
too.
For a couple of ball games. Starts to spin. Watch him reach down quickly to that back leg.
I got to tell you, he just doesn't look right.
He reaches quick to it.
Better believe they'll have an eye on him from the dugout as well.
Looked like the foot slipped underneath him just a little bit. He tried to gather himself, but all that pressure put on that back leg, and you could see Phillips take his left hand and reach down quickly to that calf.
2 balls, 1 strike. Fouls it back and again lifts that right leg immediately.
I mean, I have no doubt that Brandon Phillips, I mean, we've seen him time and time again play through pain and play through injury issues. But sometimes you've got to protect the player from themselves. And I realize Brandon wants to play.
Well, there's always that risk of injuring it further, obviously.
Right.
Particularly when you're talking about a muscle, this being the calf muscle. He's been a gamer over his career. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he has played with
that.
injury after injury, particularly a lot of them on the hands and arms. Played through them, and as we said earlier, still playing with a hairline fracture in his hand. Now, if you know a player is dealing with a leg injury, where are you pitching him?
Inside.
That's what I thought. That was not quite. I was expecting to bust him in right there. It didn't happen. Goes outside. Seventh pitch at bat, though. Phillips fighting him off.
Well, not only the left hand trying to get that through the strike zone, but also the back leg. I mean, that's where you're getting on to try to spin to catch that ball inside.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Into right field. Brandon says, no problem. Calf muscle or not.
Matt Wisler pitched Brandon Phillips away the entirety of the first at bat and struck him out. Pitches him away the entirety of this at bat. Phillips gets the best of it.
Still tell coming out of the box. A little bit hesitant with that leg. Extends his hitting streak to 7 games, does Brandon. Two outs. Phillips on first. It's Eugenio Suarez. Flat out to right. His first time up. The 1-0 to Eugenio.
When you watch Suarez swing, you can see the cup in the top of his bat as he starts to gear up for the pitch. That tells me as a pitcher that he's wrapping the bat. I can get the ball in on him, or I can make him susceptible to the breaking ball. You can see the top of the cup of the bat pointing towards the pitcher. Breaking ball, you have to start early when your bat is that high and you've got a lot of wrap to it. The ball that's elevated and in on the hands, he can't get to because the ball has the bat has a loop in it in the back. Those are just subtle nuances that a pitcher should be looking at for a batter that stands at the plate even before his swing starts.
Eugenio Suarez celebrating birthday number 25 today. Happy birthday, Eugenio, who somehow is fascinated with my name. Every
Jim?
time, no, Day. Every time I see him, he says, how's your day? Day. How's your night? Day. I mean, every time he sees me. Almost hit him. But he's a fun-loving, good guy to be around.
He really is.
And he really works hard at his English as well.
He's one of those guys that you really would like to see him have some success. He works at what he's doing. It's not as though he doesn't work at being a better third baseman or a better hitter. He's just a young player. And it just doesn't come right away. Even though as much as we'd like it for it to, or the fans would like for it to, it doesn't happen overnight.
2-2 pitch. Lays off. 3-2. Tucker Barnhart on deck, hoping to get a chance here in what has so far been a 3-run fourth. Pitch number 32 in the inning for Matt Wisler on the way. Oh, Suarez rips it. Will it stay fair? Gone. Happy birthday, Eugenio Suarez. How about a 2-run home run for a birthday present?
That was the perfect speed for Eugenio Suarez. Another hanging breaking ball. We saw Cozart crush one to open the inning, and this one just spins up about middle of the plate. And as you mentioned, a lot of pitches in this inning, and this ball just comes out, and it is right in the swing of Eugenio Suarez. Again, the catcher reaches up towards his mask. Saranara.
Third home run of the inning for the Reds. Cozart led it off with the solo shot. 2-run home run Joey Votto. 2-run home run Suarez. And the Reds with a 5 spot here in the inning. That ball was crushed. How's your day, Suarez? Looking good.
Muy bien, gracias.
Barnhart pops it up left side. Rancourt's got it, but the damage done in the inning. Cozart, home run number 15. Votto, home run number 15. Suarez, the birthday boy, home run number 16. Reds baseball, Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. And by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. Look down on downtown Cincinnati. Queen City in all its glory. 5-1. Reds lead over the Braves after a 3-home run inning in the 4th. Cozart got it started. Votto followed. Suarez finished it off. So Finnegan's got a 4-run lead. Let's see what he can do with it as he pitches here into the 5th. Anthony Recker walked back in the 3rd. It was a leadoff walk in the inning. He was stranded though. Braves team got up to a dismal start, especially at home. But of late, in a rebuilding year, now granted, not setting the world on fire, but the last 28 games, they are 13-15. And they've hit 29 home runs over that stretch in 28 games. And keep in mind, they hit just 27 over their first 64 games. So they are improving, at least with the long ball, and certainly have improved their record. albeit just 13 and 15 over the last 28.
Well, this is a point for Brandon Finnegan where he has to improve control-wise. He has to make the Braves earn it back. He cannot walk batters and give them an opportunity with free passes. He's got to make every batter that comes to the plate swing it and earn their way on.
Behind 3-1 here and in danger of walking Recker for the second straight time, but Recker rips into one over the head of Jay Bruce off the wall right to Bruce, and he holds Recker to a single. Nicely played by Jay Bruce.
The ball came off the wall, hopped on the warning track, and Bruce barehanded it. Pitch right in the heart of the plate, and 3-1. Every hitter's looking fastball. A good piece of it. Watch Bruce play this ball. He barehands it. No transfer whatsoever. I think Recker thought he got a little more of that ball than what he actually did. It did hit the top of the wall, but it wasn't as though he was busting it out of the batter's box.
Well, I tell you what, obviously the word is out over the many years here at Great American Ballpark. Right center field.
Jump in.
Yes, sir. Not only jumps, it's a short wall out there. How many home runs have we seen in rows 1, 2, or 3, just barely over the wall out there? I think he thought he got one.
Pop-ups and line drives.
Yeah. There have been balls that have been in other parks would be routine fly balls that get out of here. Two balls, no strikes. The count to Eric Ibar. Got to watch him. His 4 bunt hits this season. 107 bunt hits in his career, most of any active player. Runner on first, doubtful he would lay one down. Hey, happy birthday, Eugenio. Fans paying attention.
Good fan.
Absolutely. The 2-1 pitch. Inside, 3-1. Fisted into right field. Bruce coming on the sliding catch.
Couple of nice plays by Jay Bruce in right field. Not only the dive there, but the play off the wall, holding Recker to a single. Because in that instance, Recker probably would have had a chance to tag and go on to third base.
Brandon Finnegan's digging Bruce's game right now. Whistler trying to lay down a bunt again, and last time up it was an ugly effort.
Matt Whistler gives the impression that he's scared of the ball. He's afraid the ball is going to hit him, because as the ball comes to the plate, his weight is on his heels. He's almost leaning back towards the third base dugout.
Down in the count 0-1, and will indeed be trying to lay it down again. Stabbing at it.
You can see this whole side of his body going back towards the third base dugout. When your bottom is going back towards your manager, that's not a good sign.
Well, you can see some daylight in the front part of his spikes, leaning clear back on his heels. 0-2. This time around, they're not going to have him bunt with 2 strikes. Last time struck out. Tried to bunt.
I can remember when I was playing with the Reds, we were having trouble getting bunts down. So instead of having the coach just lob them up there to us, they put the pitching machine on the mound and they dialed that sucker up to 90-something miles an hour, and we had to figure out how to bunt it, or our hands were going to be awfully sore.
And I don't understand why they don't do that more all the time. And those pitching machines can throw breaking balls too. Shouldn't say throw, but they can deliver breaking balls. All spring training long, you see them use that machine. I've never understood it. 2-2. Whistler stays alive.
Well, evidently there is just not, it just doesn't seem to be that big a deal to folks. And if it's not that big a deal, then why even put the sign on? Why even fool with it during the game? If you're just going to throw a 40-mile-an-hour pitch up there and let them bunt during batting practice, well, why fool with it during the game?
They literally lob it in there.
They're not going to throw 40 during the game, I can assure you of that.
Do the 2-2 again. Whistler fights it off again. And teams will bring in people outside of the coaching staff to throw batting practice. I've never understood.
But not to the pitchers.
Right. I've never understood why you
throw
can't
to the real hitters.
Even bringing in someone from college or former college pitcher, someone that can throw 80 to 90 miles per hour and throw breaking balls, bring him in to throw to the pitchers while they're bunting.
Pretty good pitch there by Finnegan. That just missed down. Just barely underneath the strike zone.
3-2 pitch. Strike 3 call. Fourth strikeout of the game for Finnegan. At Great American Ballpark, your family day destination this Sunday. Half-price Reds tickets for the kids. Plus, don't miss a post-game faith concert featuring the very talented Mercy Me. It's presented by Prasco. 513-381-REDS for tickets or visit reds.com. Mercy Me getting it done. 2 outs now. Gordon Beckham take his 3rd crack at Finnegan. 0 for 2 so far. One ball, 1 strike to the Braves' second baseman. Anthony Recker led off this inning. The shot off the right center field wall and has not moved as Bruce held him to a long single.
Brandon Finnegan already approaching 90 pitches here in the 5th inning.
And that has been a problem throughout.
It has. It's been a problem for a lot of the Red starters, but if you're going to start, you're going to be pitching 6 and 7 innings, and that 7 innings should be your goal, not 6.
There goes the runner.
Finnegan thinks he has strike 3, and that's a ball.
Not even a throw down. First stolen base of the season for Anthony Recker.
Finnegan was walking to the dugout. That was well in off the plate. And he realized it was a ball.
Well, that's one you don't want to turn your back on until you see the umpire call the strike. Swing and a miss, but he gets the job done anyways and strands a runner. Reds continue to lead by 4.
Tonight's greater coverage of baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile. We've been talking about some pitching, and gentlemen, let's take a look at some of the big wigs for the Reds in the minor leagues. Robert Stevenson last night goes 6 innings and 2 hits, 2 earned runs. He's now 6-5 with a .383 earning at Louisville. Cincinnati, of course, 2-0-3. Amir Garrett starts tonight for Louisville. You see great numbers at the AA, moved him up to AAA. He's continued that with a .289. Nick Travieso in Pensacola starts tonight. He's 4-5 with a .407. But look at that, in his last 5 starts, he's getting it done. 1.53 earned run average, gentlemen.
Cowboy, you were talking about Travieso yesterday.
Well, he had such a difficult time in the beginning of the season. There were times that Travieso was having a difficult time getting through 3 innings. But whatever has clicked for him has really changed the way he's pitching. I believe it's the fact that he's throwing the changeup more, because that has been an awfully good pitch for him. Not only last year, but evidently right now.
Former first-round pick for the Reds. Finnegan flies out to left to begin the bottom of the 5th for Cincinnati. It's Matt Whistler trying to rebound after giving up 3 home runs last inning, and one of them was to this guy right here, Zach Kozar. As we said, Whistler from Bryan, Ohio, up in the northwestern part of the state. Home of dum-dum suckers.
What?
They're called dum-dum suckers.
Those little things they give away at the bank.
Exactly.
My kids love those.
And despite rumors, they were not named after me. Also, famous for, you remember Etch-a-Sketch?
I do.
Well, they used to be made there. They're made in China now, I think. But home of Etch-a-Sketch. Youngsters out there like, what's Etch-a-Sketch?
Yeah,
too hard to explain. You got to Google it. Just Google it.
Pre-computer games.
Yes. The things that we had as kids, not quite as entertaining as what they have now. That's why we used to go out and just play. Go play baseball, football, basketball, whatever. Because, you know, we have the Lincoln Logs and
solid fun there.
Train sets, Etch-a-Sketch.
The best part about the train set was when the thing went off the track. Full speed.
Grounder to the 3rd. 2 outs in the inning. Bryan, Ohio. Bruce Berini also hails from Bryan, Ohio. And there's your Joe Luckhaupt trivia for the night. coming up with the Etch-a-Sketch. Solid work. Two outs for Billy Hamilton.
Whistler looks like he's settled down after that 5-run 4th inning, making a little bit better pitches.
He's had a tough go of it before the break and after now. About 6 runs over 5 innings in his last outing before the All-Star break, July 8th at the White Sox. And that broke a string of 4 consecutive quality starts. His ERA was 3.16 through the end of May. 6.81 since the beginning of June, and that has risen tonight.
Now you look at that 5-run 4th inning for the Reds. That is now the 14th time that the Reds have done that here in 2016. That's the most in the big leagues. You would not think that with the Reds record.
No.
They only did it 8 times last year.
Billy Hamilton, hard hit ball into center field, and again, here we go. Matt Whistler's like, I got to deal with this again.
Hamilton starting to look more like the pre-concussion swing that we saw earlier, with the knob of the bat coming towards the pitcher and then whipping the bat head through. Not trying to swing too hard. That front shoulder's not flying out, and then that causes the lift of the bat. Stayed right on that ball. You could almost see the knob of the bat coming towards the pitcher right before the bat head replaced it.
Second straight at bat with the single for Billy. Whistler's going to throw over there right away.
He almost threw that one to Markakis in right field.
And this following a balk in the 4th. After Hamilton single balked him to second. Hamilton stole third, his 25th, and then watched Joey Votto launch his 15th home run into the moon deck and right. See if he's off and running here. Pitch to Votto, pitch out, nothing doing. Over.
We talked about earlier about having Hamilton on base and taking a little bit of your concentration away from the hitter. It cost Whistler a home run off the bat of Votto earlier.
Two balls, no strikes. Be a double whammy. Hamilton in his head and Votto's blast last time up in his head. Two-0 pitch outside. Looks like he wants no part of Joey. Jay Bruce on deck. Balls, no strikes, 2 outs. Hamilton at first. There goes Billy. Strike called. Billy in there without a throw. Stolen base number 26. Second of the game. Just so fast. He's so fast.
It's all about that jump. for Billy Hamilton. You see him a lot more this year. The little rock back and forth. He keeps some semblance of movement on the base pass. Never steals from a dead stop.
With the base open, he will walk Joey Votto. First walk of the game given up by Matt Wisler.
See that rock back and forth, keeping the legs loose. A lot of times for a pitcher, you hold the ball extra long with a base stealer aboard to try to make him stop and tighten the muscles in the legs just so slightly so he doesn't quite get that first quick step. Billy tries to combat that by continuing to move back and forth.
2 outs, 2 on, and the Reds right fielder at the dish. High and away. Action in the Braves pen. Righty Joel De La Cruz.
Really appeared as though Wisler was going to cruise right through this inning.
Jay Bruce, right field, but the park will hold. 2 are stranded. The Reds continue to lead 5-1. Summary. Braves got on the board first. Garcia with the single. And then with 2 outs, Jeff Francoeur doubles him in for the first run of the game. But bottom half of the inning, the Reds were in business. Matt Kozar led off the inning with a solo home run, his 15th of the season. Next batter was Billy Hamilton. He singled, and Joey Votto crushed his 15th of the season, a 2-run shot. And later in the inning, after Brandon Phillips singled, Eugenio Suarez gave himself a birthday present. 3 home runs in the inning in the 4th for the Reds. 5 runs scored in the 4th, and they lead 5-1. Alongside the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley. I'm Jim Day. So glad he could join us for Reds baseball here on a Monday night. Popped into the air. Donis Garcia. Barnhart runs out of room.
Garcia's gotten a couple of fastballs here early in the ball game and got the bat head to him. A single up the middle and pulled one through the left side. Let's see if Finnegan goes to a more off-speed approach here in this at bat.
1-1 pitch. Garcia listed at 5'9", 205. 31 years of age, hailing from Cuba. He was signed as a minor league free agent in April of last year.
He looks a little bigger than 205. do you think?
Well, you know, you'd think they'd give him 5'10" too. They're going to keep the weight down. You give him an extra inch on the height, and he's got enough height on that one to send it on out of here.
Another fastball. He didn't miss that one.
3 straight hits for Adonis Garcia and 3 at bats, and this one a solo home run, his 6th. The Braves cut into that Reds lead. It's now 5-2.
Fall behind in the count. Got to come with a fastball. Smoked it.
Now with Finnegan's pitch count at 92, righty Blake Wood up in the Reds pen.
Probably the best hitter in the Braves lineup, and Finnegan has handled him both times at the plate with strikeouts. Fox Vision will show it to you. First time up. Look at this low breaking ball down, and Freeman right over the top of it. Came in with a breaking ball, and then a fastball got him on the next one.
Back live, and that one bounces 1 hop over the wall. Ground rule double. So back-to-back hard hit balls, 1 a home run, and now a ground rule double off of Finnegan.
Well, that first pitch on Fox Vision was a breaking ball that was down low in the strike zone. That pitch that Freeman hit there, and we talked about this earlier, the breaking ball that's up and out over the plate. You see where Barnhart's setting. Look where the pitch is. When Barnhart reaches back towards the plate, watch the mitt. Mitt goes back towards the plate. Ball up, ball out.
You saw Mac Jenkins, and there he is again, the pitching coach, getting on the phone, trying to see how close Blake Wood is to being warmed up. Teddy Power now, the bullpen coach for the Reds, looking on. The 0-1 pitch to Nick Markakis. Another hard hit ball. This will fall in front of Hamilton. Freeman had to hold up to see whether or not that ball would be caught. But he moves over to third, and now first and third, and still nobody out here in the 6th. And here comes Brian Price. And herein lies the question that has followed Brandon Finnegan in his young career. Starter or reliever, he is a max effort pitcher and does not go deep into this game. Cannot get out of the 6th. He does leave with a 5-2 lead. 2 runners aboard. Blake Wood comes on. It's our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen.
broadcast is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Reds raced out to a 5-1 lead. Now it's 5-2 and 2 aboard. And they are Brandon Finnegan's responsibility, who leaves this game after 96 pitches, 5+ innings. And Blake Wood into the game, the righty, into a tough situation with nobody out.
I'm sure the Reds would be more than happy to trade a double play ground ball and allow Freddie Freeman to score. Hard sinking fastball from Wood and that biting slider down and away.
He's tangling with Jeff Francoeur, looking over Wood's 2016. Only 2 of 16 inherited runners have scored off of Blake Wood this season. Pretty good ratio. Wood, in the 7 games since he returned from the paternity list on June 24th, has posted a 1.13 ERA. That's 8 innings pitched, just 1 earned run. If he's not walking guys, he's effective.
I don't think there's any doubt that Wood has the stuff to be awfully good up here. But the stuff has to be around the strike zone for it to be effective.
Jeff Francoeur has never faced Blake Wood.
That was nasty. Split finger down and in, and Francoeur thinks it's a fastball up until the point that the bat head comes through. You can see the split in the hand of Wood there. Watch the bottom fall out of this pitch. That's better than the double play. Now you get a double play. Nobody scores.
Ender Inciarte stands in the way of that. Out in the inning. Shot the other way. Suarez catches it. And just getting back to third base is Freddie Freeman. Hard hit ball, but heads up Suarez.
Pretty good swing on that ball and a nice reaction by Eugenio Suarez. One more step for Freeman. That is a double play.
All right, Blake Wood 2/3 of the way through getting out of this jam for the Reds. Now Anthony Recker. He's reached both times up. Walk and a single. You look at that .667 average, you're thinking, wow, only his 3rd game. Two balls, no strikes. At the 2-0. Recker fouls it back. Recker's faced Wood 1 time in his career. 0 for 1. With a long look in. He's got what he wants. Now brings it. Swing and a miss. 2-2.
Hard slider there. It didn't do exactly what Wood had planned on it doing, but the ball does go down. And you can see just enough to fool Anthony Record.
Balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. Swing and a miss, and Blake Wood comes in and closes the door. Braves get a run, but the Reds continue to lead. Before every game with all the info you need for that day or night's game. It's Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio. The pregame edition is brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. 6:30 again tomorrow night for Reds Live. And Cody Reed still looking to get his major league feet underneath of him. The lefty will go against righty Tyrell Jenkins in game 2 of this 3-game set. Reds and Braves. Matt Wisler still in the game for Atlanta. And he'll face Adam Duvall to lead off the bottom of the 6th for Cincinnati. Wisler sitting on 86 pitches. Bryan, Ohio native. Delivers strike 1. A 1-1 count to Duvall.
He has really stayed away from Duvall in both at bats here in this ball game. Got him with a fastball, a strikeout first time up, and a slider down and away to strike him out the second time.
One out there again. See if Duvall can lay off this at bat.
Well, you see a batter come to the plate, especially a young batter with the home run numbers that Duvall has. You think, all right, I'm going to make him beat me the other way. And that's exactly what Wisler is trying to do, trying to keep the ball down and away and not make a mistake inside.
Goes inside. Fouls it off. Does Duvall.
But you see where that pitch was inside. That was well in off the plate, and he ran it in there. The only thing you can do with that is either take it or do what Duvall did and just foul it off to the left side. That's just a strike. It actually makes it even better for you to go back down and away.
See what the plan is for Wisler here on the 2-2. Lost it upstairs. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
That's one of those times where you say to yourself, all right, I'm going to really throw a good slider here. You lock out your wrist and it comes out of your hand up head high.
Payoff pitch. Check swing, appeal, no, says Lance Barksdale. Adam Duvall has himself a walk. Lead off the bottom of the 6th for Cincinnati.
Whistler had Duvall set up for the ball away. He missed up and in with a breaking ball, and he misses up and in with a fastball.
Second walk of the night for Whistler, and that might be it. Indeed it is. As Brian Snitker, the interim skipper for the Braves, takes the ball. Matt Whistler's night is done. After 5+ innings. 5 runs on the board for the Reds. We'll tell you about the new pitcher on the other side. Join Mo Egger from 700 WLW for the Reds Fan Cam this Friday night at the Holy Grail. It's your chance to answer Reds trivia, win great prizes, and you could be a part of Reds Live. The party starts at 6 this Friday at the Holy Grail. Matt Whistler's night is done. And a new pitcher for the Braves, it's righty Joel De La Cruz.
De La Cruz has been up and down with the Braves a few times this year, but this is only the 5th ball game that he has entered.
No outs in the inning. Adam Duvall at first base. First pitch from De La Cruz. Nope, he'll go over to Duvall. Brandon Phillips at the plate. Extended his hitting streak to 7 games with a single back in the 4th, and he scored a Eugenio Suarez 2-run home run. Phillips battling through that calf injury, which we've seen him tweak it a bit, particularly in his first at-bat of the game, even in the second at-bat, but he's fighting through it. Quick throw over. One pitch to Phillips. 1-1. You're just picking up the game. The Braves scored a run in the 4th. In the bottom half of the 4th, the Reds put 5 on the board. 3 home runs in the inning. Cozart, Votto, Suarez. Braves countered in the 6th. Garcia with a solo home run. That's where we stand 5-2. Phillips ground ball. Will get the out at second. No, they won't. Bad throw right there by Eric Aybar. And you talked about it earlier. Aybar's had some sloppy plays and a sloppy one right there.
You know, in the backyard wiffle ball, you can hit the runner and he's out, but not in this game. Gets to the baseball, but that was not a very good throw. That almost hit Adam Duvall in the face.
Wow.
Ooh. May have got him in the face.
Might have.
On the ricochet. You'd never know it from Duvall.
Tough kid.
Oh, man.
Trying to see where this hits him. Oh, hit off the glove, yeah.
Hit off the glove. May have gotten a little part of the chin there for Adam Duvall. Will bounce off the chest, off the chin. A couple of bruises.
All right, no outs in the inning. Reds in business again. First and second here for Eugenio Suarez. Last time up, Suarez blistered one to left. The only question, would it stay fair? Indeed, it did. On his 25th birthday. First pitch from De La Cruz. Off-speed pitch at 77.
Well, that's his main pitch, is that changeup.
Hit him right there, he says, and then ricocheted. Second base umpire Angel Hernandez says that's a big old hang with him.
You'll be all right.
Oh, 1. Check swing.
De La Cruz with that sinking fastball in 90-91. He'll use the changeup out of the exact arm slot, trying to get the ball on the ground.
Here comes De La Cruz. Big swing and a big miss.
You can see the changeup. You can see the fingers there, throwing it with the last 3 fingers on his hand. That kills the speed on the pitch. The arm speed is the same. Looks like a fastball until you swing and it's not there.
Will that be the classic circle change grip?
That is correct.
1-2. Got him.
Threw it to him again. See the fingers, and you can almost see the circle here. Ball spins like a top as it comes to the plate. Very tight spin. Very difficult to wait on the baseball, especially when you're in an RBI situation. You want to go get it and hammer it. And he throws you one up there that's 82.
1 out, Tucker Barnhart. 2 of them still sitting out there. First pitch called strike.
Very similar to how he went after Phillips and Duvall. Fastball early and a steady diet of the changeup after that. Back-to-back heaters there.
And the Reds pin Raisel Iglesias.
Hammer time.
Cranking it up. Oh, we love to see Raisel pitch.
He's fun to watch pitch.
He really is.
Not just the fact that he's effective, but the different arm angles, the body mechanics, the way he can manipulate the baseball.
Bounced it up there. Ball, 2 strikes, 1 out.
pretty good numbers with runners in scoring position for Tucker Barnhart.
Barnhart sends it the other way. Let's see if they'll send the runner. Indeed, they will. Here comes Duvall. He'll score, and the Reds play add-on. It's 6-2.
Barnhart comes into that at bat hitting .378 with runners in scoring position. With a base hit there, he just keeps climbing. Threw the changeup, but he didn't get over it enough. De La Cruz stayed on top of that one a bit too long and didn't get through the baseball, and it was a little bit harder than some of the changeups that we saw result in a swing and miss. That changeup at 87, too close to the fastball at 90-91. Got to have at least about an 8-mile-an-hour difference for it to really be effective.
Now pinch hitter Kyle Waldrop hit in the pitcher spot. So Blake Wood will be done after 1 inning of work.
And a very good 1 inning of work.
Indeed. Came into a tough situation and closed the door. Waldrop was called up from AAA when the Reds sent John Lamb out. We'll see how long this stint lasts. If he can stick with the club, because the Reds will indeed have to make a move, or at least we assume so. They need a starter this weekend. Lamb's spot comes up in the rotation. The only difference being is if they would skip over that with an off day on Thursday. See how it shakes out. Waldrop behind 0-2. Plays off.
You talk about the job that Blake Wood did there with runners at first and third. Got a couple of big strikeouts to not allow the run to score. You're starting to see more confidence and more consistency out of this Reds bullpen. Boy, did they have their struggles early, but they're making adjustments and starting to get better and better as the season goes along. That's what I look for. Incremental success.
Waldrop swung at a ball right there and goes down on strikes.
Another changeup. This one he gets over the top of. You can see the action on the ball as it goes down instead of staying straight and hard, and he gets the strikeout.
Back to the top of the order, Zach Cozart. First pitch to Zach. Called strike. One for 3. That solo home run in the 4th that kicked off that 5-run inning. Tied his career high with 15 home runs. A 1 pitch. 87 miles per hour. See that a lot with pitchers. The speed between their fastball and the changeup. I imagine that's one of the hardest things to decrease that velocity and get that gap.
Well, the grip is what should decrease the velocity, not your arm speed.
Mike Leake was a pitcher that struggled with the separation.
And a lot of pitchers do. It's very difficult to throw the ball with your ring finger and your middle finger as the release point, because you've learned for so long your middle finger and your index finger being your release point.
1-2 to Cozart. Ground ball. See if this time Ibar can make the play, and he does. Let's get a run though. And lead 6-2 here on Fox Sports Ohio. Feeling good tonight. So far, so good for the home squad. 6-2. They lead over the Braves. On to the top of the 7th. And always a treat when number 26 hits the hill, and that's Raisel Iglesias.
All different arm angles for Iglesias. He'll come submarine style. He'll come over the top. And the thing that we've noticed with Iglesias out of the bullpen, his velocity has really jumped up, especially with the fastball. 98 miles an hour we've seen him top out at. And Iglesias has not allowed a run except for one swing of the bat. So any base runner has not scored in his 14 1/3 innings out of the bullpen. Opponents only hitting 122 against him.
First pitch to Eric Ibar. Ball 1. Attaboy. Raisel, hailing from Cuba, is doing a pretty nice job, and it can't be an easy transition. Transitioning from Cuba, he had to spend some time in Haiti while he was awaiting being signed by a major league club. Lost a lot of weight there, and coming to America and not speaking the language, having to adapt to, let's face it, a completely different culture. Can't be easy for anyone. Many have done it, and Raisel's fitting in nicely. And he's another one that's working hard at his English. Really working hard at it.
An extreme competitor.
Yeah. Two-two pitch, way inside. He had to wait till last year to get his first car. He bought his first car, a Dodge Charger.
There you go.
Dodge Charger can get up and go just like his fastball. Really good athlete. And here's proof positive. He won a bronze medal in swimming during high school. You a good swimmer?
Me?
Yeah.
I can tread water.
Ground ball to Votto. Iglesias hustling over there, out number 1.
I'm not going to drown unless you leave me in there for a long time in the deep end.
Well, the problem is when you swim with cowboy boots on, it weights you down. I keep telling you to give up the cowboy boots when you get in the water. Look at the Reds' pen last 9 games. Talked about them turning the corner. Those numbers would suggest going in the right direction.
I would say so. And I think that has an effect on your entire team. When your bullpen fails, it affects your whole ball club because you feel like your effort is all for nothing. You score 7 or 8 runs in a ball game and you lose 9-8, and it's one of those types of losses where a team comes back against you. It's deflating mentally. And it not only affects you that night, it affects you for games to come.
Nothing more deflating in baseball than having a lead and losing it late. Nothing at all. Slow roller to Phillips. Too easy out for Iglesias here in the 7th. All right, now back to the top of the order, Gordon Beckham. One ball, one strike.
Well, Jace Peterson did not waste a whole lot of time.
He did not. Chase Peterson's been one of the pleasant surprises for the Braves.
Pinch hitting there and grounding out quickly to Brandon Phillips.
1-1 pitch. Did Phillips. Back-to-back plays recorded by the Reds second baseman. And a 1-2-3 seventh for Iglesias. Saturdays this Saturday. Thanks to Fox Sports Ohio, the first 25,000 fans will receive a Reds cap. Catch all the action. Reds and Diamondbacks. You can watch the game for just $12. Call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. Bottom of the seventh. New pitcher on for the Braves. It's lefty Eric O'Flaherty.
Not been quite the year that O'Flaherty had in mind, I'm sure, with a 6.52 ERA. This will be his 28th ball game. Only 19 in the third innings. He's given up 25 hits. Only walked 5 batters.
They'll face Billy Hamilton, leading off the half inning for Cincinnati. Hamilton 2 for 3, a couple of singles, 2 stolen bases, and has scored a run. He's on base. Reds usually have a pretty good night, and so far so good. First time tonight, Hamilton hitting from his natural right-hand side. Got to hurry here. Forget it. Ball gets by, but Hamilton stays at first. That's a secret right there. You just got to hit the ball on the ground. Hit it on a line or hit the ball on the ground, and things like that can happen for Billy.
Watch O'Flaherty try to get to this ball. He realizes he can't glove it. And as soon as the ball gets by him, he knows that's a hit. He doesn't even look.
So here we go again.
I'm sure O'Flaherty was thinking as that ball rolled by him, oh, great. Now I got to deal with this guy at first. Track meet.
A little tough for Billy facing a left-handed pitcher. Votto swings at the first pitch and fouls it off, and you don't see it very often. Joey Votto fouling the ball off himself. One of those guys that it's a rarity when it happens. Ouch. That'll leave a mark, particularly tomorrow. gather his thoughts, get back in there. 1 for 2 with the walk and that 2-run home run. He's taking a lot of time to get back in there. He's back in and ready to go. Dealing with an 0-1 count from O'Flaherty. They'll throw over. Hamilton was barely off the bag. There goes Billy. Throw down. Safe. Close play. Third stolen base of the game for Billy.
That was a major decoy by Hamilton as he took his lead. He was only maybe 2 or 3 steps, had his hands on his hips, but he still had that walking lead, and he got in there just barely. Not quite the same jump that we saw him get from second earlier.
Billy has told me in the past, when he's going in there feet first is when he gets a good jump. If he's going head first, not as good a jump. It's the 9th career game with 3 or more stolen bases. It's the most in Major League Baseball since Billy Hamilton's debut. Votto through the right side. Here comes Hamilton around. Here comes the throw to the plate. Not in time. Billy ball again. You love to see it. Infield single, stolen base, base hit, run score.
Watch where this ball is as it gets to right field. Markakis is in on it in a hurry. Hamilton's acceleration once he gets going is just incredible. When he hit the third base bag, it was almost as though he took about 5 steps and he was sliding.
Third RBI of the game for Joey Votto. 7-2 Reds lead.
I think we've just seen here in the last 2 ball games really what it means when Hamilton gets aboard. He disrupts the timing of the defense. He disrupts the timing of the pitchers. And the rhythm, for that matter. When Hamilton was aboard earlier, Whistler left one right in the heart of the plate. Votto hit it about 100 miles.
Votto with a home run and a single. This raised his average by 13 points already since the All-Star break, from 252 to now 265. You could say the same thing about when Hamilton's on base, wreaking havoc. Joey Votto's hitting. Usually a good night for the Reds. Up the middle off of Flaherty. And they've got Votto hung up in between bases, but an errant throw is going to get Votto off the hook. That ball started off of O'Flaherty onto the second baseman. 1-4-3 on the out on Bruce.
Votto had to stop, otherwise he's going to run right into a double play ball. Freddie Freeman just flat airmailed that into left field.
Well, 1 out in the inning of Votto at second base. Adam Duvall seeking his first hit of the night. Struck out his first 2 times up. Walked though in the 6th. And scored on Tucker Barnhart's RBI single.
I think when you have your top guys in your order, whether it's Cozart and especially with Hamilton because of the excitement that he brings, I think it creates a different dynamic in that first base dugout. It's almost as though, all right, here we go, here we go. It creates some excitement from an offensive standpoint, and it lifts your team emotionally.
Right field. Going back is Markakis deep in the corner, and he caught that ball. Votto will tag up and go to third. Markakis went a long way. Caught that deep in the corner in right field.
Almost right up against the wall.
All right, now with a 7-2 lead for Cincinnati. Brian Price is going to send Ivan DeJesus Jr. up to pinch hit for Brandon Phillips, who again is making his first start after missing a couple of games with a calf injury. Showed signs of that calf still bothering him. And with a 5-run lead late in the game, going to give him a spell the rest of the way. Jesus can play all around the infield. Ball, 1 strike. Up and down the list of these Reds with runners in scoring position, their average is pretty solid. And you wouldn't think so, looking at the record. Punched into right field, that'll fall. RBI single, Ivan DeJesus Jr., and it's 8-2 Cincinnati. Pretty nice piece of hitting.
Tried to cut this ball in on the hands of DeJesus. DeJesus didn't hit it on the sweet part of the bat, but he got enough of the good part to flip it into right field, right in front of a charging Nick Markakis. Yeah, I think with the Reds have had difficulty scoring runs, so when you do have an opportunity with runners in scoring position, it's a much more heightened awareness at the plate to try to get that run in, and the Reds have capitalized on that. I think they're 3rd or 4th in the National League as far as getting those runs in, runners batting average with runners in scoring position.
Our Volkswagen drive of the game, Eugenio Suarez in the 4th. Again, the only question, would it stay fair? It did. Eugenio Suarez hit the home run on his birthday. The last Red to hit a home run on his birthday, Brandon Phillips, last year.
That's large.
Pitch to Suarez. Come on, Gino. Brian Price has always talked about getting a lead and then continuing to get separation. Hasn't always happened this season, but tonight, it's what the doctor ordered in that category.
Well, the ability to add on, even if it's 1 run, or to continue to keep the pressure on the opponent's pitching staff, it doesn't allow the other team hope. Once you've got a lead and you continue to swing the bats and you don't die down, you don't let the other club get any kind of momentum at all, it's almost as though you're just putting your foot on their throat and you just keep mashing down.
Suarez stays alive.
I mean, how many times have we seen in this game and in sports in general, momentum tends to bring a little emotional energy for your club. It brings hope to your club. So as long as you keep the momentum on your side and you keep doing what you're supposed to do, the other club has a difficult time fighting back because they've got to try to come back. You already have the lead and you keep pouring it on.
Swing and a miss. Suarez goes down, but the Reds indeed play add-on. They add 2 and lead 8-2.
To 2, top of the 8th inning tonight. We had talked about some of the pitchers in the minor leagues, and tonight Amir Garrett, a very nice game. 6 innings, just 6 hits. He gave up 1 run. It was an unearned run. He did walk none and 5 strikeouts. He threw 85 pitches in the game, 60 of those strikes. So a very efficient night for Amir Garrett. He dropped his ERA that was at 2.89 all the way down to 2.19. He is getting it done at the AAA level now. His 4th game and 3rd start at AAA Louisville.
He just dominated at AA. And one thing I always look at of a pitcher, particularly at the AA level, how many strikeouts they have as opposed to walks. It really can show you the domination that a pitcher has. And he was just mowing them down at AA. And now in AAA, he could be on the fast track. He's a big lefty, in case you don't know out there who Amir Garrett is. He's a former college basketball player who the Reds signed and allowed him to continue to play college basketball, who he eventually gave up basketball and now concentrating on pro baseball at the full-time level. And you can really see what the Reds saw in him. He's pitched in back-to-back futures games as DeJesus into the game with a nice play.
And I would imagine, Jim, that the Reds will see him at least in September, as you see DeJesus catch this ball on the shortstop side of the bag. But I think when you look at the age of Amir Garrett, because he got a late start,
right,
and he's really on a superior role right now. If he continues to pitch like he is right now, I think we'll see him either late August, probably more so in September than anything else, just to let him get his feet wet, because he's got to be in the mix next year when it comes to spring training.
Good guy, too.
Good guy, great competitor. Does not shy away from whoever is standing at the plate. And I think getting up here and getting his feet wet, getting an opportunity to pitch against big league batters and understanding what it's going to take for him, then having an off season to work at it and to get himself prepared mentally as well as physically, could be a major player for the Reds in 2017.
Look forward to it. A lot of young arms, a lot of performing well. By the way, also down at Louisville, with Louisville, Jesse Winker 3 for 3 tonight with a double in that game. Recently came back from a wrist injury, getting right around 300 last time I checked in. 1 count to Freddie Freeman. Make that 3-2.
I think the key for Amir Garrett is you just don't want to wait too long before you bring him to the big leagues. You've got a certain amount of prime that you can pitch in, and the last thing you want to do is waste it in AAA.
A walk to Freddie Freeman. This Sunday, we invite you to make Great American Ballpark your family day destination. Thanks to Klosterman Bakery, you can get half-price Reds tickets. Kids 14 and younger will get a Suarez Fathead. Thanks to Hothead Burritos. For tickets, 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. I don't know the pitch count, innings count for Amir Garrett. But I guess he would be in that category that they would want to limit it to. Could that speed up his arrival here just to get the innings in up here? Or do you leave him down there?
I think that ultimately depends on how the starting 5 are doing. I don't think that Amir Garrett is a guy that they're going to put in the bullpen.
No.
And I think if you've got guys that are continuing to throw well, then it forces him to stay in AAA a little bit longer. But once you get to September, all bets are off. I think the Reds have got to see him at some point as many times as they can in September, so he understands what he's got to do going into 2017.
Slice the other way, Nick Markakis. And now first and second situation with 1 out for Raisel Iglesias.
Pretty good piece of hitting on a changeup from Iglesias. This ball is well off the plate and down, and Markakis stays right on it and just shoots it right past the third base bag. Sometimes you make a great pitch and they still hit it, but you know the other guys are getting paid too.
Right. And Markakis
is getting
obviously
paid.
A veteran, getting paid. He's getting paid a lot, and he's been in the big leagues a long time. As has this guy, Francoeur, slow roller. The only play is going to be the first for Kozar. 2 outs, and now second and third. Just to finish that thought on Amir Garrett. Last season, he pitched 140 1/3 innings. So far this year, 101 2/3.
Pitched what, 143 last year?
140 1/3, yeah.
Well, I would imagine they will probably try to get him somewhere between the 170, 175 mark and maybe a little bit more, but I would think that that's where he's headed. But I think the key for any of those guys, if there is a minor league pitcher that you think has a shot to help you in 2017, then they need to be here at some point in this season to understand what it's like to pitch here. Go ahead and get all of the anxiety and the nervousness and all of that stuff out of the way and have an understanding about what you need to do to be successful up here. Go ahead and get the phone call out of the way. Mom, I made the big leagues. You know, have your friends come and see you play. Go get all that out of the way. That way 2017 is all business.
Could not agree with you more. Raisel Iglesias ahead 0-2 on Ender Inciarte. 2 outs, second and third.
Iglesias looking for the strikeout here. Quickly ahead 0-2. Tried to get Inciarte to chase that slider down and in on that pitch.
Base runners don't seem to bother him. The ultra competitive Raisel Iglesias. Swing and a miss. And Rysell gets it done again.
We look back at the All-Star experience with Reds outfielders Jay Bruce and Adam Duvall. And what's been one of the secrets to Duvall's success? The answer rests in his back pocket. It's a very inspiring story. Plus, Zach Cozart was finally immortalized with his own bobblehead. We'll hear what he thought of his mini-me this week on Reds Weekly. Guys, cool story with that. Cozart had a couple of his buddies from Mississippi in town. Former players, teammates of his, they all got to take back Zach Cozart bobbleheads. So, Brantley, you might see a couple bobbleheads floating around Mississippi when you go home.
Are you allowed to talk about Ole Miss guys? Ole Miss?
I'm always allowed to talk about Ole Miss guys when their name is Zach Cozart. He is the class of the class.
If you're wondering why, the pride of Mississippi State sitting to my right. New pitcher for the Braves, Mauricio Cabrera, 2.45 ERA in 8 games. He will do battle with Tucker Barnhart here in the Reds' half of the 8th. Well, let's talk about some more young players, shall we? In Dayton, Nick Senzel, 2nd overall pick in this year's draft. 4 for 5 tonight. Not only had his first triple, his first home run. 4 runs driven in. He's hitting .322 so far for the Dayton Dragons. Tyler Stevenson, last year's #1 pick, catcher, recently came back from injury. 4 for 4 tonight with a double.
Well, I would imagine that Senzel will move pretty quickly. Maybe not this year, but just this year's probably more so just getting used to professional baseball. But I would imagine next year he will move quickly as long as his production is up to par.
I would imagine if he continues on this pace, Daytona could be a destination before the end of 2016. At least that would be high A. Because he did not spend long at all. He started out at Billings, rookie ball, only played a few games. He moved him right on to Dayton. Tucker Barnhart, left field. Coming in was Fran Cool. 1 out.
Well, I can remember back in '85, Will Clark was the 2nd pick in the draft, right behind B.J. Serhall. He started his year in high A Fresno, which was A-ball at the time. And he hit so well, the next thing you know, he's in the big leagues leading off for the Giants that year.
Wow.
Wasn't a whole lot of wasting time.
Well, they say Senzel was the most complete college hitter in the draft, thus going #2 overall. And so far, Short sample size, we know. So far, living up to the billing.
Well, we saw how quick Kyle Schwarber got to the big leagues. Really did not have a position to play, but he could flat swing the bat. And Joe Maddon found him a spot starting behind the plate and in left field.
This is pinch hitter Tyler Holt.
Michael Conforto for the Mets, very similar.
Yep.
Look, if you can play, you can play.
Well, the Reds have had some solid arms in the minor leagues of the last few seasons. We know that. They're loaded with arms. Position players, hitters, it's been very, very thin. Let's face it. Very, very thin.
Well, the key for Senzel is when he hits double A. And if he keeps swinging the bat the way that everyone thinks that he will, he may make a jump real quick from double A straight here.
Reds leading 8-2. 5 runs in the 4th, 1 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th.
This kid Cabrera is dialing up the velocity. I feel like I'm watching Aroldis Chapman from the right side. 101, 102.
Two balls, 2 strikes to Holt. Other heater, 103. Yowza. Recker had to reach for that one. That one probably hurt to catch.
Yeah, 103 you have to reach for. That'll
ouch.
Tear your shoulder out of socket.
Holt draws a walk though. Good at bat, Tyler Holt. Giving up 8 runs, but the Braves pitchers have only walked 3. That's the 3rd walk of the night. Speaking of velocity and speaking of Aroldis Chapman, Joe Luckup tells me Aroldis Chapman hit 105.1 on the gun tonight. Highest velocity since he hit 105.1 with the Reds in 2010. So he can keep that license plate. Which basically had 105 on it.
Now, Cabrera has the fastball to match Aroldis Chapman, but the breaking ball and the secondary pitches, not so much. The thing that amazes me now, Jim, is you get guys throwing in the upper 90s and like this kid into the hundreds, but yet hitters are still able to get to the baseball. Now, 3 or 4 years ago, those balls were right by hitters because they weren't used to seeing it. Now there are so many pitchers throwing the ball in the upper 90s. They seem to be catching up to it, and it's not such a unique pitch.
Set up Cozart on that one, dialed it back to 85. Cozart came up missing. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mauricio Cabrera bringing it plateward. Strike 3.
Pretty good slide. Well, when you're throwing the ball 103 miles an hour and drop that Louisiana breakdown in there like that.
Oh, the Louisiana breakdown.
Trouble.
I was waiting for the Louisiana breakdown. Now we got to explain Louisiana breakdown.
Well, that's that pitch that starts up there about Memphis, and as it gets to the plate, it drops straight down to New Orleans.
With a yes sir on the end.
Yes, sir.
So after the Louisiana breakdown, tires Cozart, it's now Hamilton. Mauricio Cabrera, flamethrower, hailing from the Dominican Republic. He was signed by the Braves as a non-drafted free agent July 2010. 6'3", 245. Good night for Hamilton so far. It's been fun to watch. 3 stolen bases. The 9th time in his career achieving that in a game. Three singles, scored twice. One-two from Cabrera. Hamilton stays alive.
That was a breaking ball there, and Hamilton was able to adjust his swing just enough to foul it off. See the breaking ball come in, even though it was a bit high, still had some pretty good break to it. Hamilton able to spoil it.
Two again. Grounder, second base. This time they get Hamilton. Reds continue to lead big time. We are off to the 9th. Billy Ball, the disruptor. Balk. He causes a balk in the 4th after he singled. Steals 3rd. He's got 3 of them tonight. And the pitcher paying too much attention. And Joey Votto takes care of business. With Whistler worrying about Hamilton. In the 7th. Infield single. Steele. Just wreaking havoc all over the field. And then Votto again. Into right field. Billy didn't have to slide, but he did anyways. What a night for Billy Hamilton.
And what a night for the Reds. Creating just great energy on the base paths and in the ball game.
With an 8-2 lead, Ross Ohlendorf out of the pen, the righty, here in the 9th. He will face Recker, Ibar in the pitcher spot.
Ollendorf has pretty much taken the ball whenever they've asked him to take the ball.
Recorded a big out in that Brewers series. Tony Cingrani was called on to close the game, had trouble. 2 outs in the 9th. Came on and got Ryan Braun to pop up in the game. The Reds took 2 out of 3 from the Brew Crew. Now looking to win 3 out of 4 coming out of the All-Star break.
Ball bounces in the dirt. Watch Barnhart go up in order to block it. That's how much spin is on that curveball, and when it hits the dirt, it jumps straight up.
And so did Barnhart jump straight up. Ground ball. Cozart go deep in the hole to get it. And nice play. Big league play, Zach Cozart, what we've come to expect.
It's amazing watching Cozart. He always seems to find the perfect bounce, whether he has to go back or whether he has to come in on the ball. Always seems to have a great read on the ball. No wonder he's one of the best shortstops in the game.
Boy, I'd hate to see him in another uniform. Business of baseball, we'll see. By the way, did you ever try one of these old school windups like Ross Ollendorf? Was that ever in the Cowboy arsenal?
No. I couldn't step back that far. My legs aren't that long.
Ground ball. Suarez spins, throws. Braves down to the last out. Pinch hitter A.J. Pierzynski. 2 outs here in the 9th. .212 hitter in 58 games this year. The Reds will employ a big shift. Cozart to the right side of second base. To Jesus in short right field. Votto playing deep. Suarez the only one on the left side. Ollendorf ahead 0-1. Announced crowd 21,989. Those that are left are on their feet. From Ollendorf. In the air to left. Hit well. Duvall going back. Can't get it. Off the bottom of the wall. Throwing to second base, and Pierzynski's in there sliding with a double. Sort of sliding.
Left that fastball a bit out over the plate.
Guess that was a good slide.
Doesn't quite create the same velocity going into the bag as he did back in his younger days.
Came to a halt in a hurry.
Guys like Pierzynski that are still on the baseball field, especially being a catcher.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to tip your hat.
Gordon Beckham. Count 1-1. The Braves second baseman. Strike call. Braves down to their last strike. Reds a strike away from taking game one. This 3-game set. A good block by Barnhart. See if he has to jump up again.
Well, you see how far that ball caroms upwards when it hits out in front of the plate. Trying to bury that pitch right on top of the dish to get a swing and miss.
Maybe a good still shot. One of those still photographers got him in midair. 2-2 pitch. Got a piece. So after splitting a 4-game set at Turner Field in June, Reds trying to take command of this series. Suarez with the backhand play, and what a way to end the game. Beautiful play, Suarez, and fitting on his 25th birthday. And the Reds take this one 8-2. Ross Ohlendorf pitches the 9th. Finnegan, Wood, Iglesias, and Ohlendorf hold the Braves to 2 runs. A good team win for Cincinnati. And we are back with more after this.